Hi everyone, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. We can take a few seconds to get settled as we go ahead and get started, but I'd like to welcome you all to our GetResponse Marketing Automation for Your Online Business webinar. We're so thrilled to have you guys with us today. My name is Abby, and I'm going to get us started today on our topic and a few housekeeping things. The webinar today should be about an hour total because we're going to have a dedicated Q&A session at the end of our presentation. So hopefully by the time you leave us today, you'll have all of your questions answered. And the webinar is also being recorded. So don't worry, we're going to send you guys all a copy hopefully on Monday. So you'll be able to watch this again in case you'd like to go over anything that we're talking about today. So again, thanks so much for joining us. And let's go ahead and get going. So today we're going to be talking about, of course, marketing automation for your online business, and specifically how to use the e-commerce features that are available in GetResponse to be able to efficiently and strategically automate your communications and the customer journeys. That's what we're going to really focus on today. But also, in a few moments, my colleague Michael's going to come on and present us with some key statistics and some studies regarding the importance of e-commerce and online businesses. You can look forward to that as well. And so we're going to then be exploring how the marketing automation elements that you're going to see throughout the presentation and live in the account today, that include things like an abandoned cart element, a post-purchase element, and also web traffic tracking, are going to help you keep track of activity happening on your website. And then we're going to be setting up scenarios that are going to best nurture your leads and help them through a well-planned out customer strategy and journey. So it's really going to be important about maximizing your impact with your leads and your customers at each important step of this process. And I want to quickly, before I hand it over to Michael, just talk about the evolution of GetResponse Marketing Automation. I'm not sure how much you guys have heard just yet, but it has been a bit of an evolution. We've just ended our beta phase, and so there was obviously some things happening from start to finish here. Because GetResponse Marketing Automation began kind of as a way to automate your email marketing and your communications. You can see here on the left, it was kind of more specifically about reacting to messages being opened and links being clicked, which is of course important. But we always had the goal for marketing automation to be a part of your entire online marketing strategy, not just email marketing. By checking and responding to those message opens and clicks and subscriptions from your subscribers is certainly important and shouldn't be forgotten, and it should be a part of your comprehensive online marketing strategy. But today we want to expand our thinking and start reacting and planning for how visitors are behaving on our website. So reacting to those abandoned carts or maybe visits to key pages of your site and of course completed purchases, along with your email marketing reactions, all of this is going to be key together. And so that's what you can look forward to today. But for right now, let's get our minds onto the topic of e-commerce and online businesses with Michael.
Thank you, Abby. And hello, everyone. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the current state of e-commerce. So first of all, we need to realize that the number of digital buyers is constantly growing, and the growth shows little evidence of slowing down in the upcoming years. As you can see from the statistics from Statista.com, currently there are more than 1 out of every 5 people who have already purchased something online. It has become a common practice to purchase something online either out of convenience or because it's cheaper to do it online. There's plenty of reasons why would you do it online. At this time, e-commerce has become more important in terms of its share of the GDP. So, for example, in the US itself, it's now 1.67% of the total GDP, but it's likely to be increasing by 17% by 2018. So as you can see, e-commerce is growing. It's growing in terms of its importance, and that's why you need to adapt and make sure that your practices, your activities are always going with the trends. The next thing is to realize is that e-commerce is becoming also more effective. So as you can see that from the data from Castor.com, just comparing 2016 and 2015, the overall revenue of e-commerce in the US has increased by 8.9%, and the number of orders has increased by 8.1%. And you can see that the average order value has also increased, but the overall revenue has increased basically because of the fact that there are more orders. So people are more easily coming up with the idea that they should order something online, and they're not afraid to do it so using the different methods. And when talking about different methods, we need to realize that there are different channels and different ways to purchase online. And that's why mobile still continues to become even more so important. And especially as you can see in this slide, the number of orders by device, it shows you that mobile has increased from 27% up to 30% in just a year. And in some places, because this is just for the data for the US, in some places this difference has been even bigger. In Asia Pacific region, for example, mobiles are becoming even more so popular. So people are more inclined to purchase using mobile devices. But interestingly enough, you can see that tablets are becoming less popular when it comes to purchasing something online. But altogether, it means that people are not afraid to purchase. They're not afraid to purchase using mobiles, and that's why your emails, your shop, your landing pages, everything has to be prepared for those users and who use different devices. Another thing is that we need to look at is the different channels that drive traffic, drive revenue, and the orders for online businesses. So as you can tell, there are just different channels that have been popular over the years, and organic search and direct have always been among the top most important channels, and this hasn't changed. But as you can see from this data from Castora, their effectiveness, their share has gone a little bit down, and currently it has given its place to paid search and email, which have increased the most in just a year compared to 2015, which means, okay, the channels still haven't changed. You still should be using all of them and as a mixture, but you should be also focusing a lot on the channels that bring you the highest ROI. Sorry guys for that. It seems that the connection on the cable actually went down, which is quite odd. Usually the Wi-Fi that's harder to work with. But back to the slides. So when we were talking about email and marketing automation, you do need to realize that there are different ways to do it. And of course, the usual newsletters, business as usual emails, they do work still, but the things that are currently working most, they are most effective, are the triggered messages. So they are the ones that are sent to users based on their activity, on what they do on your website, on in your platform, with your messages. So behavior triggered messages. And as you can see from the data from Email Institute, the click-through rates on these messages are much, much bigger. Another thing is that transactional emails get more opens and clicks altogether when it compares to non-transactional emails. And when we're talking about transactional emails, this doesn't mean only messages that relate to payment confirmation. These are messages that are relating to everything that's behavior triggered based on what your user does. So these messages are very important because they're timely. They're sent when your users are waiting for the response. So when they're on your website and doing something in response to which you should be answering. And the thing is that this is the only way to build engagement. So to react when your users want to be talked to. When they're on your website, when they're reading your emails, this is the time you should be talking to them. So when they're ready to be engaged, that's when you're supposed to be talking to them. And the most important thing is here that you cannot focus only on transaction, one single transaction. You have to retain those users, those customers. So that's why you need to focus on longer relationships, on building them. And the thing is with those is that relationships and loyalty is good for you, and it's good for the number of orders that you have, how often people purchase, and how much they spend with every time they visit your store. So engaged consumers are not only good because they're loyal advocates and they will tell everyone around that they like your brand, but it's also because they will usually spend a little bit more on the things that they purchase from you. So let's take a look at what different brands do in online stores with marketing automation, how they come up with their strategies, what they do to engage their users, and how you will be able to do it with GetResponse in just a second. So first of all, online businesses, they welcome new customers. And this is a great example from a brand called Tommy Hilfiger. So this is a message that's sent to everyone who just signs up to their list. And it shows perfectly what you can do. Just set it straight what the tone of the message will be of the future communication, what it's likely to be about. So fresh news, anything that you want to order, any trends, all those things in one message, and also a discount code, which can help you motivate them to make that initial purchase, because I can imagine that they recognize that the users who have made that initial purchase are most likely to purchase products in the future as well. So that's one of the things that businesses need to realize. When is this aha moment? When their users are also they're more inclined to make that purchase and devote a little bit more money with your business. Another thing that businesses can do with marketing automation is onboard their new customers. And this is a perfect email from a service called Todoist, which I received upon signing up to the list. So instead of sending me a discount code on to purchase something, they send me a message which tells me how I can use the platform, that it's available on using different devices. I can use iPhone, iPad, etc. So they are telling me straight away that you can use it on the go whenever you want. They also tell me that there's a tutorial if I want to get quickly on board with the product, and there's a way to contact customer support. So this means that they recognize that the users that have started using the product will most likely stay longer with them rather than someone who just signs up to the list and never does anything. And the same goes with any business, really, with any software, any product of the same type. If you get users to do that initial thing, to log in, to make that one action, this is most likely going to help you to keep them longer with you. So onboarding is another important thing that you should be doing. Another thing that you could be doing with marketing automation, and I'm sure you've all noticed this in the past, is cross-selling. So if someone's already thinking about purchasing your product, or they have purchased one product of yours, you can add something more to their basket. You can ask them to purchase something else. And as you can see on the slide, there's this great example from Amazon. I'm sure like anyone who's ordered anything from Amazon has seen it. So recommended accessories. If you're purchasing a laptop or a Kindle or anything else, they'll show you some products that go along with those. And it could be an extended warranty, it could be a device, just anything. So of course they don't add it straight away to your basket, but they just suggest it to you based on what they think is going to work best, or what other users have thought about it and what they bought also. And there's another example from Marks & Spencer's. So I was looking at different clothes, jumpers and stuff like that, and they're sending me regular newsletters about that, but also they're adding a little bit of information on how I can purchase other products that could probably go well, so suits or shoes and stuff like that. So this is the type of a message that you should be sending to your users if you want to cross-sell. So sell other products that'll go in line, complement to the products that they have already purchased. And this is a really example I'd love to share. So this one is about upselling, and this is from the Dollar Shave Club. So this is one of the services, subscription-based services that people sign up to. They pay a monthly fee and they get a number of products every single month dispatched to them. And the thing about this business is it's great because people make this initial purchase and they don't have to care about anything else ever again. It's unlike other e-commerce businesses where you have to purchase something instantly and then you can think twice about it. So Dollar Shave Club added a little bit of a new feature, which is basically what other businesses have already been doing, but they present it in a completely different way. They say you don't have to wait a whole month to get your products sent to you, or if you want to exchange your toiletries, you want to purchase something on top, you can do it instantly. So what they're really doing is what other businesses are already doing, but they're presenting it in a completely different way. Instead of waiting for that whole month, they're adding a little bit of more products to your basket, you can have it dispatched to you straight away. And this way, they're making sure that the average value of a customer is larger because they don't have to just rely on that monthly fee that they get from them. Another thing is that you can do with marketing automation is to engage and re-engage your audience. Of course, you should be doing that in any business. And this is an example of what Duolingo and Khan Academy, how they do it, how they engage their audience. So the left message that you can see is an example of a welcome email, one that I got after signing up, and they show me there are different ways to use the product, and the more you use it, the higher, let's say, Pokemon or higher creature you're going to get. And they say straight away that you can build up your profile, you can earn more points, and the ones that are blocked will be unblocked if you stay longer with them, if you do more exercises, etc. So they're getting you to go inside, check their website, do some exercises, and get a higher level, because we like gamification. We want to earn more points. And the same goes with Duolingo. If you want to earn more points, if you want to learn the language, they know how to do it. So they send you a reminder that they haven't seen you in a while. But if you do visit their website, for example, every day for 3 days, you'll get that message saying, oh, you're on a hot streak. Let's check how long you can stay with us, etc. So they are very good at engaging and re-engaging their audience. And you can do it automatically. You don't really need to think twice when you do it. All you have to do is set up a workflow that's going to do it. Another thing that you can do with automation is to get feedback from your audience. So use social proof in your messages on your website, or just ask them for information on how to make your product better, how to I don't know, fix their problems, or ask them what they think about everything, about the whole experience, the whole process. So this is you have two message examples here. So one to the left is one from Typeform. It's just simply a survey asking how they've been doing, how you have experienced their product, and if you take 2 minutes, you can leave them a note. They can improve their product, and in case you are selected, you can win a little prize as well. And to the right, you can see part of an email from a company that sells slippers, and I'm really shocked by their communication, but they do it well. They show you nice slippers, how people are using them, and they show how people talk about them. And it's nice when you think of slippers, you don't probably think of walking on a cloud, and that's how apparently people were talking about this brand. So they are using this feedback that they got on their website, on their review sites, or in another survey, and they use it in their communication to convince people to purchase the products more often, or just to convince their first-time customers to purchase them. And on top of that, you can, of course, retrieve lost sales. And this is an important part. So I can imagine you guys know that cart abandonment is a big problem. And here are two examples of how we can do it. One from Bonobos, which basically says forget something. Yeah, you can simply go back to the website and get a 20% discount if you order it now. Or the other one on the left from Casper, which you can see that someone ordered a pillow or a pillowcase or something like that, and telling you come back to bed, which is a nice way of saying that you can actually go back to their website and finish off the purchasing process. You can purchase the product and basically get it sent to you in a short amount of time. Okay, so these are all the live cases of how brands are using marketing automation. I'm sure you can think of many, many more, but I'm just going to pass it now to Abby and let her talk a little bit more about marketing automation.
All right, you guys. So now, as promised, here is the things we want to tell you guys about GetResponse Marketing Automation specifically. And so I promise in just a second I'm going to go live in my account and share my screen with you guys so we can build a couple workflows and talk about it a little bit. But before we do that, I did want to just briefly, because again, I'm not sure how familiar some of you are with our automation feature, to briefly talk about what our automation is made up of. So GetResponse Marketing Automation is made up of elements known as conditions, actions, and filters. And you use these different elements to create comprehensive workflows that are going to establish these subscriber and customer journeys. And so you've got conditions that you use to, for example, check if messages were opened, if links were clicked, if specific subscriptions or subscription methods were completed, if someone has purchased something from you, abandoned their cart on your website, or have visited particular web pages on your website. And the actions are there, of course, to then react to those certain conditions being met. So triggering a message to be sent if, for example, someone clicks a particular link, moving them to a different campaign in your account, to wait a couple of days, or to then tag or score them. Tagging and scoring is something you all could start to think about how you want to actually start, valuing your subscriber database, and you could come up with a score plan. How much are opens worth to you? What are clicks worth to you? And start deciding on every time someone clicks on a link, I'm going to give 10 points. Or if they open my 8th message in my series, I'm going to score them. Because hopefully you'll start, being able to really easily and quickly see which leads are, the most responsive and receptive to your messages and which are kind of falling behind. And so that's probably, we could do a whole other webinar on, scoring and coming up with a scoring system. But I wanted to briefly introduce these to you. Tagging and scoring is a way you can start kind of to differentiate your subscriber list as you start working through marketing automation. And from then we've got these filters to fine-tune and specify which subscribers of yours are going to be affected by the workflow and particular actions or conditions. So a range could be an interesting filter to use if you wanted, let's say, the first 100 openers to be sent a specific discount offer, and then the next set of 100 openers get maybe something else. So it'd be an interesting way to kind of differentiate based on the first people to open or click. And the amount is a neat way where you could kind of maybe create some competition. First 10 clicks get, sent the free ebook download or something like that. And then the dynamic segment is basically a way to fine-tune, like I said, which subscribers are affected by the workflow, but it's by utilizing different search conditions to be able to, only target specific subscribers that have specific custom fields or signed up via a specific way to then be filtered through this filter and continue on through your workflow. And so that's basically what I want you guys to start getting familiar with, that we're made up of the conditions, actions, and filters in order to create workflows. And so you're going to use those elements to create workflows, and it's a good idea to have kind of the goal, the overall goal that you're trying to achieve in mind whenever you start to build the workflow. And so that's what you want to do as you get going is, what are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to, re-engage cart abandoners? Are you trying to welcome new leads or new signups? Maybe you want to establish a particular post-purchase communication strategy. And then with that in mind, you're going to start to build your workflow using those necessary elements and establishing the required connection. So take this workflow, for example. I know it's a screenshot, so you guys probably can't see it super clear, but don't worry. As I said, we'll go through it again. But this is a sample workflow that I built to welcome new subscribers who signed up via my homepage and then tracking their initial actions to the messages that they're being sent. So I began this workflow with the subscribed condition, and then everyone who signed up via my homepage in this particular sign-up form that I specified are sent a welcome message. And beneath that, I added an additional condition of, was this initial welcome message opened? And so, of course, green check always means yes. And so, was it opened? And if it was opened, I want to check further, did they click a link in the message? Because I want to see, it's fine, they opened it, but are they really engaging with the message and clicking my links? And so for those, again, from the yes connection, I'm going to give them a tag of engaged because they are an engaged subscriber. Those who opened the message but did not click, for example, I could give them something called inactive, or you'll specify here how you're wanting to call your subscribers in these formats. And for those that never even opened up the welcome message, I'm going to wait for a day And then I want to send them a follow-up message and be able to check back in with them. So this is a very simple example, and the important thing also to know about marketing automation is that it can be as simple or complex as you want or you're comfortable with. And automation is technically, you could just do these first two elements. They subscribed, and then I send them a message. That's technically an automation. You could stop it there. And this automation workflow could also continue to grow. I could continue tracking all of their subsequent engagements with other message I'm sending. I could check if these people ended up opening follow-up one, clicking any links, and continuing to react to that. And so that's what I hope you guys start to realize is that, you can start thinking small and simple and then grow on that as you start to get more comfortable with your goals in marketing automation and how it's working with your subscribers. And now, before I share my screen, I just am curious to hear from you guys. You guys are a talkative group, so maybe I hope you'll be kind enough to take part in our very quick poll. So I want to ask you, do you have an e-commerce shop? So simply submit yes or no. Have you used any type of automation before? And then maybe if you wanted to write a couple of short words about what you hope to achieve from marketing automation. If it's to, reduce manual tasks, increase your sales, give it a try, your boss is making you figure it out. There's no wrong answers here. So I'll leave it open for just a few seconds to give you guys time, and then I won't keep us too long because I've got a few good respondents out there. I'll count it down. I'm leery to stop because you guys are voting so well, so I'll give it just a few more seconds. Okay, I'll close it down in 5, 4, 3, 2. Any last minute voters out there? Oh, 2.5, 1.5. And, okay, we've got 100 voters in voting. Thank you guys so much. I'll quickly share the results. About half of us here have voted, so you can see it. 21% of our voters do have an e-commerce shop, 36% do not. Quite similar as well for those who have used automation or not. And then your short answer questions, we're going to be really happy to look at those after the webinar and have a look. So thank you guys for voting. I really appreciate it. And so we can now continue on as promised, and I want to show you guys a real-life e-commerce example. So I'm going to initiate desktop sharing here. Give it just a second. Here we go. So hopefully, guys, you guys can see that okay. And so let's get in the mindset now of an e-commerce shop. And we're going to go through an example of the planning, creation, and execution of an e-commerce focused workflow for our shop. So this shop is called Chocolate Monster, and it's an online sweet shop. So, we can have a look, and I'll get a little bit hungry here. And so in this, scenario, let's get in the mindset that, we're getting some traffic to the site. I mean, check out what we're selling. It's not hard to get good traffic for that. And however, though, our conversions are suffering. So we've got some decent traffic, but we've noticed that our cart abandonments are becoming an issue. And so I think we all are probably guilty of that. I know I personally am very guilty of visiting a shop and adding something to my cart and then abandoning for any number of reasons, right? I'm not actually planning on purchasing anything today, or I got distracted and had to step away from my computer. So there's tons of reasons why we might be abandoning, the things we're putting in. Obviously, I would not like to abandon my brownie, even when I'm adding it here, but things happen. And so for our e-commerce shop, this is what we're noticing happening. And honestly, there's a study out right now. You can't hear me? Okay. Sorry, guys. I think if there's some issues with audio, I'm sorry about it. The beauty of our online events, but you guys are awesome for sticking with me. So anyway, and so the issues here that we're wanting to tackle with marketing automation is cart abandonments, because studies are showing that the shopping cart abandonment rate is over 68%, which is obviously huge. And so we want to start implementing something to counteract that. And so There's tons of reasons why people might not finish their purchase, but we can start sending helpful reminders and, reminding people that something's in their cart. So if indeed did just get, kind of drawn away from the computer for a moment but actually did want to purchase, it's certainly a good idea to remind people about that. And so here I am in my GetResponse account with an automation workflow that I've already built, and in a minute I'll build one with you guys here live from the beginning. But here is a marketing automation workflow designed to combat the issue of our cart abandonments. And so, again, it looks a bit complicated, but not necessarily. And so I've began the workflow with this abandoned cart element here, the condition. And so within the properties, you'll select your, specific way that you'll integrate it. And, I don't want to totally go through all of that today since we won't have time to go through the ins and outs. But there is, helpful FAQs and everything available for whenever it comes time for you to actually do this. But I've input my two specific URLs here. So this is where it's important. You need to enter the cart URL. So that's, of course, right, if someone is actually making it to the cart. That means they put things in here and they've got the cart and things in the cart, of course, to purchase. But then it needs to also be enter the thank you page URL. So the URL that they would reach if they actually had completed their order. And so we need to see if people are making it from cart to here. And the whole deal with an abandoned cart, of course, they make it to the cart, but then not to the thank you page. And so I'm wanting to assume that after 2 hours, so if someone has abandoned their cart for more than 2 hours, which means they don't make it to this post-purchase page, that is going to trigger the workflow. That's how it's going to get going. And so if after 2 hours someone has reached the shopping cart page but not the post-purchase page, I'm going to send them a message, my abandoned cart message. You can see a little example I've kind of worked up here. Oops, you forgot something, tempting them with maybe a % off, and then a link to complete their purchase. And so this is going to be automatically sent to those who meet the criteria here in my condition. And then I want to add another condition, the link clicked condition of did they click that link? Remember this one here, to complete their purchase. And so if they did click it, I then want to know from here, visited URL, was a specific page visited. And so that specific page, of course, being our thank you, our post-purchase page. Because I know if they reach that page, they've indeed become my customer, and I apply this tag. So remember, that's the action of tag that I've created, and I'm going to now call these people customers and move them to my customer pane. So we can assume that they're initially in my leads campaign, and then I'm moving them into customers. And then, of course, I'm then sending them, and this is all happening, at the same time, because I've got no delay set here. Thank you for your purchase. And so this is kind of a two-way thing. You're seeing both the cart abandon method and then a post-purchase message. For example, a little example I worked up, thank you for your order, view more, the option to join a partner program or share some feedback. But then for those who actually did not actually click that link to complete their order or ended up visiting my completed purchase page, I'm going to wait for 2 days. So that's an action called wait. And then I want to send those guys a message after a couple of days, not trying to be too pushy, And then I'm going to send them a final call message to complete their purchase. And I'm offering an even bigger discount in this example. And then the option to complete the purchase. And again, for the sake of time in our webinar today, I'm stopped it here. But of course, probably you could continue going at this stage. And being able to, again, check did they click the link in this message and did they make it to the post-purchase URL and things like that. We can keep going. But this is to get you guys a bit more comfortable with thinking in this way and the way that you'll be able to logically arrange all the different elements. Finish, start to finish, of course, I'm going to build a new workflow. And this is, again, going to be a fairly simple one, this post-purchase workflow that we've seen before, but this way you can see me set up some of the properties and things in real time. So I'm going to create another workflow here. And I'll give it a name. So I'm going to call it Chocolate Shop Post-Purchase. And so then you can see start the process when someone, and I'm going to choose the option makes a purchase. And so then I need to configure my purchase details. And you're going to be setting up all the specific details and things that I've been talking about for each element over here in properties. And you can see when I chose properties for this particular element, this pop-up came up with instructions on how to install the JavaScript code on your site, or simply send it to your developer and they can manage this for you. And so I'm going to choose a JavaScript method, but there is also an API option available if that's how you want to do it. And then I'll enter the thank you page URL. And so we can say I already have the JavaScript enabled on my site, so I can continue moving forward. And I'll enter that specific post-purchase URL here. And now I need to keep building my workflow. So this is going to be triggered every time someone completes a purchase with me. And so similarly, I want to now, as I did a bit earlier, I want to move over the tag option. And I'm going to use the connection points here and drag it and connect. You can see it's pretty easy. The option for tag, back over to properties. And you can assign or remove tags, but I'm going to assign a tag. You can create a new tag right here in the panel, but I already have one created called customer. So I'm going to select that. And going back over to elements. And then again, as I had done in the previous one, I'm going to move them to a different campaign because I have a campaign in my GetResponse account dedicated to customers. So connecting these two again, back to properties, choose the specific campaign. And then if you have autoresponder cycles set up for them, you can choose if they should be added to the cycle or not. I'm going to opt out in this case. And then, of course, they need their post-purchase message. So I moved over the send message action, connect it to here. You can see whenever I complete the setup for an element, it goes from gray to its finished color. So back to properties to choose which message I want. So you can choose from newsletters you've already sent out, drafts, autoresponders, A/B tests, and anytime you use one of these messages in an automation workflow, it gets moved automatically to this automation section. So I've already used some of these before, so I'll simply choose automation. And thank you for your purchase. So you can see even a little preview here to make sure, yes, that's the one I want to use. And then I want to go further. Now maybe you remember in my thank you for purchase message, I included a link to join my partner program so that people can refer friends to my shop, and every time you refer someone, you can get a discount on future purchases. And so I want to see now who is joining my partner program, who's seems interested in that. So in order to do that, I'm going to move over that link clicked condition to the send message because they were sent the message. Now I want to see did they click a link. So I'm going to go over to properties, and I want to specify it's the actual specific link from a specific message. Because you can, of course, check did anyone click any link, but I want to see has someone clicked the specific partner link. So I need to choose this message and this partner program link. And I'm going to assume after 1 day, so I'll be checking for a day, basically if someone has clicked or not clicked this particular link. And for those who did click, let's say I'm going to score them because I've got my own scoring plan going. So I moved over to score action, and in properties, you can add, subtract, or set specific points here. I'm going to add 10 points. And then I want to actually apply a custom field. So in GetResponse, you also have custom fields that subscribers can apply themselves when they sign up, for example, or you can, of course, do it. And so I'm going to give them a custom field of partner. So these are going to be custom fields you already have set up in your GetResponse account. And so I'm going to select partner, and the value is yes, they are a partner now. They've signed up. And then I'm going to send them an additional message, which is, of course, going to welcome them to our partner program. So over here in properties, again, you can choose any type of message you need to, and then welcome to our partner program. You can see I've got, a pretty similar theme going, but this is a neat way to, welcome them. And now I need to do something about this negative path here, right? People who didn't end up clicking a link. I'm going to wait, again, for 2 days. It's nice to not be too pushy, give people some time to air out. And over here in properties, you can decide how long you're going to wait, 2 days, let's say. And then I'll gently remind them with another message here that I'll use as a reminder to, let's say, a friendly reminder, don't forget to join our partner program and save. And now technically, again, for the purpose of the webinar today, I'm going to stop here. But you can keep going. The only limit is your imagination and what you feel you can keep up with, basically, whenever you're planning. And so I hope this is a bit more clear for you guys about how easy it is to drag and drop and complete the properties for each element. And now we'll be able to simply save and publish this workflow. And it is now, ready to start tracking. And as soon as someone completes a purchase on my site, well, I'll be able to see people who start going through the actual workflows. So you can see I've just kind of started setting mine up in the past couple of days, so I don't have too much going on right here. In the Manage Workflow section is where you'll be able to actually see this and keep up with how many people are in progress or have completed your workflows. And so if you can believe it, that is kind of the most that I'm going to be showing you as far as, in the account itself, because I'm hoping now you guys feel a bit more comfortable about why you should be using marketing automation. And then you've got some information from Michael, here we go, about, some good examples from companies that are using marketing automation. You see some real life examples. And also you got to see this wonderful chocolate monster shop being able to, build some post-purchase and cart abandonment workflows. So you guys have been a really awesome and active audience. And so let's go into our Q&A session while we just have a few more minutes and try and get as many answered as we can. You guys are offering some really good questions. And so I see a few questions about how can you use workflows or do you have to upgrade? I'm going to put a link here to our pricing so you'll be able to see the different elements and features you have for different account levels. And so for those of you who are with us today for a free trial, you can test out some basic elements of marketing automation, kind of basically email marketing automation, and be able to track opens and clicks and things like that. And so you can definitely have a look on the pricing page. I think that will help. And let's see, did any other questions? Oh, and I see a happy customer, someone already using workflows. So that's really cool. We're so happy to have you. And Jacqueline, yes, for right now, it's a good idea to go ahead and create your emails first and then do the workflows. You could certainly, if you wanted to, be able to build your workflow, and instead of clicking Save and Publish, just use Save and Exit. Like if you wanted to do the bones, of the workflow and then come back and edit the workflow and add your messages in. But I know the team is working on being able to edit messages within the automation creator. So we're working on it. We're going to constantly be, updating and evolving and improving the feature. Indeed, Jack, you could create a drip series for abandoned carts. I mean, basically a way to do it is if you added a wait element, that action of wait within each message. And of course, then confirming, though, if someone has actually purchased or not. You could continue to send them some messages if you wanted. Yeah, you can assign multiple tags to one subscriber. And you said, I'm not using webinars. Can I build automation for webinar attendees if I upgrade? So certainly, I mean, if you want to be able to use full access to marketing automation, then yeah, you would need to upgrade to a pro plan. And then as a benefit, that would actually give you webinars as well, our webinars feature that you guys are seeing here as well, which is neat. Let me see if I can see. Yes, indeed, there will be a replay. We're going to send you guys a link hopefully on Monday to your email. Maximum storage for recording webinars, it depends on your account level. It starts at 2 hours, then it goes on to 4 hours. But basically, if you download and delete your recording after each session, you'll be able to continue to record. So that shouldn't be a problem. Indeed, you can move a person from campaign A to campaign B in marketing automation via that move to campaign action element. So if someone clicks a specific link or does something specific, meets some condition that you set up, using that move action, you'll be able to move them to a different campaign. If someone signs up for a webinar, can I add them to an autoresponder series and tag and score them? Indeed, you can, Mac. And thanks. I'm happy you guys enjoyed the webinar. Can you create a workflow for leads? Certainly, Tiffany, if, of course, you have their information in your account as a subscriber. So that is the deal here, is they do need to actually be in your account for you to be able to email them, of course. So they would need to be signing up, but maybe, you know, they're just a lead at first. They haven't purchased from you, but they've signed up for your list. Let's see. I know I might have missed a couple of questions up there, but let me see. Email analytics. I guess, Johnson, you mean can you check out the performance of the messages you send through marketing automation? And certainly, you'll be able to view email analytics and that type of thing, opens and clicks rates for those. Can you do a test run for the workflow? Well, basically for right now, the best way would be for you yourself to try and, for example, meet the condition, you and, some couple people or something to try to meet the condition and go through it, the workflow as you hope your subscribers or customers will. And is the double opt-in procedure reducing the spam score? Well, there's a spam score that in GetResponse we use for your messages, which is what we we use an outside service called Spam Assassin to, have a look at your message when you're creating it and give it a spam score. But certainly double opt-in in general is just a good way to make sure you reduce the number of complaints that you might get from people marking your message as spam because, they're confirming that they indeed do want to receive messages from you and have even gone so far to confirm that via confirmation message. So, of course, that's a good idea. Tiffany, is there a video to watch on how to set up custom fields? There definitely is. I highly recommend you guys, we link to it in the next the next slide. But we have a really robust support center, learning center. So there's tons of FAQs, videos, like pretty much whatever I can imagine you would be asking, it would be found there. So quickly, here is a link if you can get to it in time before we move up. But basically, support.getresponse.com and search for anything you're going for as well. We also have 24/7 support. So anytime a question pops in your head and you can't find the answer or you just want to know, you can go to support.getresponse.com. And also in your account, there's a button that says 24/7 support on it. You just click that and start a chat. And yes, I see, Dr. No, the webinars are not available yet on mobile devices. So indeed, it wasn't running on your iPad. I am sorry about that, but we're working on it. I know it's a huge option, so we've got the guys on it. Let me see. And so, Nicoletta, it's no problem at all. We all were new at this at some point as well, but certainly you could create autoresponder messages and then use a workflow to support it, tag and scoring. So if someone's opening or clicking one of your autoresponder messages, you can respond in automation as well. And again, I don't want you guys to feel alone out there after the webinar and using marketing automation. Please reach out to our support team. Sebastian is even saying here that they're outstanding, and that is true. And so I want you guys, if you get stuck, just to reach out to support to help you create your workflows. They're all, excellently trained in automation and how to use it. So, and Karen, I'm glad you like it. Definitely, drag and drop is so cool. Let's see. I'm not exactly sure what you might mean in a workflow available to see campaigns A, B, and C in one view. I mean, it depends if you wanted to include subscriptions to all three campaigns as a starting point in the condition subscription and then go from there. But basically, I think contact our support with more details about what you want to achieve, and they can help you. And certainly, Victor, you're good to go. We're just going to finish up a few more Q&A questions while we still have a bit more time, but you're totally free to go. You guys have been awesome hanging in with us for a whole hour. It's a long time in a day. And yeah, Karen, for right now, it's a fairly good idea to try and create the email first before creating your workflows, but it's not completely required. You'll be able to simply save your workflow, go create your messages, and then come back in. Okay, thank you guys. Y'all are being so nice. So I think we kept you guys for long enough, and I know we could probably answer questions all day. So let's go ahead and start wrapping up and say goodbye. Again, here's a couple important links for you to keep in mind with. Remember, support.getresponse.com, tons of FAQs, tons of videos, and you'll be able to reach to our 24/7 support. You can give us a call, send us an email, or connect on live chat 24/7. And we also have this getresponse.tv/marketing-automation. And that's where you can see a lot more videos, like use cases, because I know the ones today focused on e-commerce, but some of you didn't want to see e-commerce ones. You wanted to see some different ones. Well, we have 8 total available there, and also some tutorials. So you can visit that page and see some different videos that we made creating different workflow examples. And they're not all e-commerce, in case that didn't apply to you. So you guys have been incredible. Thanks for hanging in there with a couple of audio issues and things, but simply is the nature of online events. But thank you guys so much for joining us today. You gave an hour of your Thursdays, and we really appreciate it. So reach out to us anytime in support, and we look forward to seeing you guys in future webinars.